All right, so here we are. It's time for Bible study. We are on chapter 33 of Jasher, verse 11. So who remembers what happened the last time on Monday when we were doing Bible study? What did we talk about and discuss?
We talked about how Jacob had fought with one of the angels of the Lord, and how when he got to Esau, he bowed down 7 times while approaching him.
Okay, we're talking about, so that was on Sunday when we were talking about before Jacob crossed the river Jabbok, and he wrestled with the angel of the Lord. And after that, he crossed over and then ended up meeting up with Esau. And at the time, he wasn't aware of the fact that Esau had 4 different sets of angels come before him, which was actually 3 angels that showed themselves as 2,000 soldiers, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that was Sunday, but Monday, what did we talk about? Does anybody remember what we talked about on Monday?
About how Jacob telling Esau to go ahead of him to his house so he could go to his father's house.
Esau the Lord put Esau's heart towards Jacob. Some of it was out of fear, and some of it was the Lord's doing, and he had kindness towards Jacob, and he was trying to get Jacob to come and visit him. And Jacob was smart enough to know that he wasn't about to put himself in that situation, so he got Esau to go up ahead, and because he was going to fulfill what the Most High had for him to do, which was to return home to his mother and his father, right? Mm-hmm. And while he was getting ready to return home to his mother and father, he finally got to where he broke over the border of Canaan. And when he broke over the border of Canaan, he had his whole company, his family, and all of his animals and whatnot, everything he had brought with him from Laban's house. They bought a piece of land and they settled down and they rested for about 1.5 years. And after resting, a day came up where there was a city right down the road from them where they were having a celebration or a festival. And so the women from Jacob's camp went down to the festival to check it out into the town. And while they were there, his daughter Dinah was with them with Leah and Rachel, both of his wives, right? Mm-hmm. And while they were all sitting down there was a rich man that had came down, and his name was Shechem, right? And Shechem was viewing what was going on. He was watching the dancing, and then he noticed off to the side there was a group of women that he didn't know. And by him being a wealthy man within the city, from my understanding previously, I do believe that he's a prince or something like that, but we'll see as we read on if he is or not. That he looks and he sees one of the young daughters of the women, and he becomes enamored with her. He likes the way that she looks, but it turns into something that was more than that. It turns into something to where he had a desire of whether she wanted to or not for her to be his, right? And that's where we stopped off at in Jasher chapter 33, verse 11. And once again, I always like to just say this, that no, I am not a preacher. No, I'm not a pastor. It is the duty of every father to lead his family in Bible study. Once you accept Christ, the Holy Spirit comes and dwells within you. And once you get to reading the word, the Holy Spirit will guide you through it and will allow you to do what you need to do for you and your family. If you're looking for a teacher, if you're looking for a pastor, I would highly suggest either Pastor Stephen Darby or Pastor Omar from the School of the Hebrews. Those are 2 great pastors that when I prayed for a teacher, the Lord directed me towards Pastor Omar and from the School of the Hebrews. And since then, it's been a life-changing experience. Actually, we as a family used to always watch the church services on Sundays, and then on Tuesdays we would do Bible study, and then throughout the week we would read. But when they stopped doing the Bible study, they came on and they said, look, man, this is not something to where it was always designed and set up to where each and every one of us would have the capability to understand and to know God and to read about God and have a relationship with him. After all, no pastor is going to take his whole congregation with him when he dies. That's not how it works. Everybody going to die individually. Everybody needs their individual relationship with the Most High. So therefore, we as a family start doing our own Bible study. And seeing that it's been something that's been so successful for us, and just being led to serve the Lord in some way other than what I was already doing, we decided to start videotaping our sessions and put it online. You're more than willing to check us out, but I'm going to tell you again, I'm not a teacher. I'm not someone that you can follow. You want to go and get yourself a pastor. All right, so let's dig into it. So we're on Jasher 33, verse 11. And it reads, and he sent and had her taken by force. Now, who is this that's being taken by force? This is Dinah being taken by force because Shechem has noticed her, and he says in the verse before, Shechem beheld Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and when he looked at her, his soul became fixed on Dinah. So we can tell that this is not something that's normal. This is not something that's acceptable. This is something that's to the extreme. And he sent and had her taken by force. And Dinah came to the house of Shechem, and he seized her forcibly, and lay with her, and humbled her. And he loved her exceedingly, and placed her in his house. So basically, Shechem kidnapped Dinah, right? He kidnapped her, he forced himself on her, and now he's keeping her, because it's not like he took her, had his way with her, and then let her go. No, he's keeping her like a prize or like a pet. You understand? And they came and told the thing unto Jacob, meaning that the women, when it happened to Dinah, they ran back and they told what happened to Jacob. And when Jacob heard that Shechem had defiled his daughter Dinah, Jacob sent 12 of his servants to fetch Dinah from the house of Shechem. And they went and came to the house of Shechem to take away Dinah from there. So the first move that Jacob made, knowing that Jacob had just came off the road, that whole entire encounter, right? And that the Lord has sent angels before Jacob to put the fear of God in Esau and the 400 men that had came with him. In this instance, this is something that had to happen in order for things to be realized about our people and to basically establish us for who we are. Sometimes terrible things happen in order for the good of it at the end of the road to be bigger than that terrible thing that happened. And this is something that we have to learn individually about God and about ourselves, is that, let's be real, we don't get motivated to move until things go bad a lot of times. And so as we read on, we'll see what was the actual reasoning for this to happen. And when they came, Shechem went out to them with his men. Now, these are the servants of Jacob. This is not Jacob's sons right now. These are the servants of Jacob, right? And drove them from his house. So the men from Shechem's house came out to meet the servants of Jacob, and they ran up on them and made them leave, basically, right? So it's already starting off, things are starting to get bad, meaning that Jacob handled Esau in a peaceful way. It was peaceful. There was love. The fear of God had to be put inside of Esau, but it ended peacefully, right? Mm-hmm. This seems like it's going a bit of a different direction. After all, Shechem has put himself and his people and now his city into a situation to where they are rivaling against Jacob. And remember that the land that they are in is the land that the Most High has promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, as well as their descendants, forever to be belonging to them and for them to have the right to dwell there and to live there. And if we take it all the way back from when Noah came out of the ark, this land of Canaan was the particular land that Canaan, one of the sons of Ham, took that he wasn't supposed to take. And Canaan and his people were cursed because of what they have, with them taking that place that didn't belong to them. That piece of land belonged to Shem, and Jacob is a descendant of Shem, right? So this is something that's ancient that goes back even longer than that. And when they came, Shechem went out to them with his men and drove them from his house. And he would not suffer them to come before Dinah. But Shechem was sitting with Dinah, kissing and embracing her before their eyes. So see, this is not just a situation where the men come out from Shechem's house and they're like, hey man, y'all tripping. Y'all not welcome to come right now. Y'all leave. Y'all can come back later. This is not a situation like that. This is a situation like the men from Shechem. They come out and tell them, y'all better leave before we kill y'all. And Shechem is sitting there holding the girl while everybody can see him holding the girl and refusing to let her go. Right? And from as we begin to read on, we'll realize and understand that Dinah don't want to be there. She wants to leave. She was taken against her will. It's not like she was invited to come over to a party and then decided to stay. This is something where he came and imposed his will, took the girl against her will, did things with her and to her that he shouldn't have done, especially because of her age. And then after all of that, he brings her out in front of the servants of Jacob like, oh, y'all came for her? Bro, y'all ain't touching nothing. Like this is getting worse and it's getting worse, right? And the servants of Jacob came back and told him, saying, when we came, he and his men drove us away, and thus did Shechem unto Dinah before our eyes. And Jacob knew moreover that Shechem had defiled his daughter, and he said nothing. And his sons were feeding his cattle in the field, and Jacob remained silent till their return. So we don't get an understanding of, or in Jasher, it doesn't tell us at that moment in time what Jacob was thinking, what Jacob was doing, what he was planning. But we know that he was sitting there, and he was sitting there quietly. Now, I can tell you from experience with myself, and definitely from other people, when people are really, really, really upset and they get quiet, that means it's going down. They are in the process. They've either made their decision of what they're going to do, or they're so hot that they have to sit there silently, or they will blow up on everyone else. You understand? And this is how I feel about it. It doesn't say that, but just from my life and seeing things, this is how I view it. And before his sons came home, Jacob sent two maidens from his servants' daughters to take care of Dinah in the house of Shechem. So it seems like he's sitting there and he's putting a plan together. Because while he's waiting, it tells us he sat there quietly while he waited for his sons to come home. Right? Because remember, at this time, his sons, they're growing, but they're not no little boys. Since he's been with Laban, they've been taking care of the cattle. They've been taking care of the sheep, the goats. They've been taking care of the animals. And you guys take care of chickens, right? Mm-hmm. So you know that there's a certain level of work to take care of chickens. But you can imagine when the animals become large, strong, and powerful, you can't be weak taking care of large, strong, and powerful animals. And since we know that Jacob gave a gift of 350 animals to his brother when he came, and that it was just a small portion of what he had, then we know that Jacob has tons of animals, right? We know he has tons of servants, and we also know that his sons have been taking care of the animals, so we can put it two and two together and say that his sons are strong, right? They're probably not skinny and bony. These are some strong dudes eating extremely healthy food. We know that they're blessed with all that they could ever want, need, or desire, right? Because what did we find out? He waxed so strong when he was with Laban that even Laban's sons looked at him and started, their whole countenance changed. Their faces changed, the way that they felt about him changed, and it was the Lord told them, it's time for you and your family and your household to get up out of here now, right? So he's waiting for his sons to come back, and he sends 2 handmaidens to Dinah to take care of her, right? And before his sons came home, Jacob sent 2 maidens from his servants' daughters to take care of Dinah in the house of Shechem and to remain with her. And Shechem sent 3 of his friends to his father Hamor, the son of Chedekim, the son of Pered, Pered, saying, "Get me this damsel for a woman." So once the servants come from Jacob to take care of Dinah, Shechem sees this as an opportunity of, oh, okay, now it's time to start let's make it legal. Because I got what I want now, and we're going to make it to where it's official, right? So he sends his friends to his father and basically says, hey, look, I need you to make a deal with Jacob in order to make this official so that we don't have any issues and problems. Because the first time he sent some servants over here, we ran them dudes off. Now he done sent some people over here to help take care of the girl, right? So it's about to be official. Shechem is someone who gets what he wants. He's high powered within the city, right? If the man is able to go and take a child basically in the view of everyone else and nobody say nothing and everybody cool with it, and they watch him run off the servants, then obviously this man has some power, right? And Hamor, the son of Chedekim, the Hivite, came to the house of Shechem his son and sat before him. And Hamor said unto his son Shechem, "Is there no woman amongst the daughters of your people that you will take an Hebrew woman who is not of your people?" So when his father showed up, his father was like, "Hey man, you telling me out of all the women out here, there's not one of the women from our people that you want? You want a Hebrew woman?" This is how the father responds, right? And Shechem said unto him, "Her only must you get for me, for she is delightful in my sight." And Hamor did according to the word of his son, for he was greatly beloved by him. So Hamor loved Shechem to the point to where he would do things for him, even if it didn't make any sense or it wasn't the right thing to do. And as a parent, we have to be careful not to do these things for our children. Because as a parent, you love your kids. Like, you guys have been getting yourself in trouble, to be perfectly honest with you. And some of the decisions that I've had to make and some of the things that I'm looking at doing, it even hurts me to say, man, I'm going to have to hold you back from doing this activity while only letting your little brother do it because he's the only one that got in trouble. And it almost made me want to cry because I know how much you care about doing the activity. So if I'm feeling like that and I love you, I can only imagine how they were feeling during those times when they had the power and capability like they had before. So it's letting us know that Hamor would basically do anything for Shechem, right? Because what did Shechem tell him? He was like, hey, man, this is the only thing that I'm asking you to do, Dad. Because she's delightful to me. He's basically telling his dad, we're going to kidnap this girl and it's going to be cool. And you're going to make it to where it's legal. That's all I'm asking you to do. Okay? So we can already see how Shechem and his father get down. And Hamor went forth to Jacob to commune with him concerning the matter. So the father goes to see Jacob to basically sit down over dinner and have a discussion, work things out, swap some property, maybe some cattle, some animals, make a deal so everything could be cool. Now keep in mind that Jacob's still sitting there silently, waiting for his sons to come home. Jacob is not happy about this situation at all, right? Because he found out about it because his wives came running back saying that his only daughter, he has 11 sons at this time, and a daughter because Benjamin hasn't been born yet, right? His only daughter has been taken by this man, and now the father of this man is coming to visit him like it's cool. So how do you think Jacob is going to feel about this interaction?
He's not going to feel happy about it.
You're probably not going to be happy about it. And when he had gone from the house of his son Shechem, before he came to Jacob to speak unto him, behold, the sons of Jacob had come from the field, as soon as they heard the thing that Shechem, the son of Hamor, had done. So Hamor is on his way to go see Jacob. But before he gets there, Judah and them didn't heard what happened to Dinah. And now they going to talk to Jacob to find out what the heck is going on. Right? And the men were very much grieved concerning their sister. And they all came home fired with anger before the time of gathering in their cattle. So before they even brought their cattle, they left their cattle in the field and went straight to their father. And they burning hot. Right? And they came and sat before their father, and they spoke unto him kindled with wrath, saying, surely death is due to this man and to his household. Now, let's stop right there. We didn't heard about Jacob, right? Jacob never has come across as a weak person at all, right? But Jacob has also never came across as a fighter. Now, we do know that when Esau was talking about killing him, what did he tell his mama? What did Jacob tell his mama? Oh, don't worry, I'm going to kill him. So we knew Jacob wasn't no punk, right? But at the same time, we don't hear much about Jacob being in many wars before this point. We hear about Esau being an amazing hunter, right? Esau killing Nimrod. Right? So we know that Esau get down with the business. But Jacob's sons, the first thing that they say is, we gonna kill him. So Jacob's sons are a little bit different than Jacob, right? This is why I was saying that they're not no weak dudes, right? Surely death is due to this man and to his household. They said they're gonna kill him and the whole household. Because Yahuwah Elohim of the whole earth commanded Noah and his children that man shall never rob, nor break wedlock. Now behold, Shechem has both ravaged and committed fornication with our sister. Look at where their standpoint comes from. So this is his sons. This is Jacob's sons telling him this. That the reason why we should extract this revenge on them this severe is because they have broken the Most High's law. So it's not something that they themselves are saying, well, I feel like this because this is what I want to do. But they're saying that this dude has broken two of the Most High's most crucial laws. So we already know what time it is, right? Maybe this is why Jacob was sitting there quietly. And not one of all the people of the city spoke a word to him, saying that Shechem did this and no one tried to step in and stop him. Because remember that after he had did the deed, he then brought the girl out and was holding her in front of the servants while his men was running them away. Almost like he was laughing at them in their face, saying, yeah, I did it. I'm not hiding it. And what you gonna do about it? Right? And while they were speaking before their father in this matter, behold, Hamor, the father of Shechem, came to speak to Jacob the words of his son concerning Dinah. And he sat before Jacob and before his sons. And Hamor spoke unto them, saying, the soul of my son Shechem longs for your daughter. I pray you, give her unto me for a woman and intermarry with us. Give us your daughters, and we will give you our daughters, and you shall dwell with us in our land, and we will be as one people in the land. Now, first and foremost, this was something that was normal in those days. When when a man from one group and a woman from another group, when they would be feeling each other and they would get married, a lot of times what would happen is that the fathers would come together and the sons on one side and the daughters on the other side would all intermarry, and then the family would become bigger, stronger, more wealthy, more powerful, and they would last longer. So this was a normal thing for people to do. He wasn't thinking sideways when he came at him and was like, hey man, you give us your daughters, we'll give you our sons, and our peoples can intermarry. right? Because when he's saying your daughters, he's not just saying, Jacob, any daughters that you have. He's talking about your whole people, all of your people that's with you. All of the women marry our men, and we become one people. And then look at what he said. He said, and you shall dwell with us in our land. Well, one major mistake that Hamor made is, first of all, this ain't your land. You in it, but it actually belonged to Jacob and his descendants because it was given to them by the Most High, right? 1. 2, this is not a silver matter where it's all cool and everybody's gravy and it's not going to be any problems because, first of all, you kidnapped the girl and the dude raped the girl. She didn't want to be there with him, right? And I want you to pay attention to how he handles this. How he doesn't just go off and get belligerent. How he doesn't threaten them or any of those things. But he thinks wisely. Remember, Jacob was known for being very smart. Right? He was very smart and he had a way of getting himself into situations and out of situations. Right? And for our land is very extensive. So dwell ye and trade therein and get possessions in it and do therein as you desire. And no one shall prevent you by saying a word to you. This is Hamor talking to Jacob. And Hamor ceased speaking unto Jacob and his sons. And behold, Shechem his son had come after him, and he sat before them. Meaning that Hamor, he went first to go to talk to Jacob. But behind Hamor, right? Let's just throw it out there. Maybe a couple of hours before or after Hamor gets there, here comes Shechem rolling up. So Shechem's there in the presence of Jacob, the dude that kidnapped his daughter. And they're treating this as if it's normal. This is why I say that Shechem had power. Because he's acting as someone who rules. Do you understand what I'm saying? And Shechem spoke before Jacob and his sons, saying, may I find favor in your sight, that you will give me your daughter, and whatsoever you say unto me, that will I do for her. So Shechem is basically saying, hey man, I'm just here so we can make it official. You give me your daughter, and I'll give you whatever you want. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. You name your price, and I'll give it to you. Now, what type of person believes that they can buy another person?
I don't know.
Then you got to think about that. Like, what was on the minds of these people to make them believe that they could just walk into the house of this man after this man has kidnapped Jacob's daughter and done what he talking about? Give me your daughter. It's not like the daughter's at home with Jacob. The daughter is still held captive back in the city that Shechem is from. And Shechem and Hamor is at her father's house now. Ask me for abundance of dowry and gift, and I will give it. And whatsoever you shall say unto me, that will I do. And whatsoever he be that will rebel against your orders, he shall die. Only give me the damsel for a woman. So Shechem is saying that not only does he have the power to provide Jacob with any amount of animals, goods, whatever he wants, or payment, that he can even make people do whatever he wants, whatever Jacob wants them to do. And if they refuse to do it, then Shechem could have them killed. Again, this is why I say he was acting as if he was a prince or a ruler. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And Simeon and Levi answered Hamor and Shechem, his son, deceitfully, saying, all you have spoken unto us, we will do for you. And behold, our sister is in your house, but keep away from her until we send to our father Isaac concerning this matter, for we can do nothing without his consent. So now the boys are thinking. You see how they didn't immediately threaten them? They didn't jump on him and chop him up or anything like that? They said, look, I tell you what, man. The deal that you're talking about, it sounds really good. But we can't legally do anything without talking to our father Isaac first. So in order for us to make this deal, do something for us. Don't touch our sister until after we talk with Isaac. Now, mind you, everybody in that land knows Abraham, and everybody in that land knows Isaac, right? They also know Isaac's two sons, Esau and his crew who's up in Mount Seir, and Jacob, right? So when he says Isaac's name, Shechem, being someone who's either of royalty or of power, immediately understands that the powerful deal with the powerful, right? There's a level of respect there. So Isaac's name carries real weight, is what I'm saying, all right? And behold, our sister is in your house, for he knows the ways of our father Abraham. Now they name dropped Abraham. First they name dropped Isaac. Then they name drop Abraham, right? And whatsoever he says unto us, we will tell you. We will conceal nothing from you. And Simeon and Levi spoke this unto Shechem and his father in order to find a pretext and to seek counsel what was to be done to Shechem and to his city in this matter. And tonight, because we've already gone 30 minutes, we're going to stop right here. But we just getting started, man. They were wise enough. The sons were wise enough not to overreact. 1. 2, if you notice, since since the wives have come home to Jacob, Jacob hasn't spoken, has he? He's been sitting there silently. His sons come home and they find out. And when Hamor and Shechem go to talk to Jacob, it's Simeon and Levi who answer him. Right? And the deal that they cut with him is that, look, you go back to your land. Don't touch my sister. Let us go talk to Isaac because he knows the ways of Abraham so that we can see how to properly do this. While in the back of their head, they're thinking, I need to go and talk to Isaac because I need to see by law, what are we allowed to do to them? Because they're not getting away with this. But at the same time, we're not about to do whatever we want or we will become enemies of the Most High. And that's not what we want. Right? This evil has already been done. It's probably a shock to them that this evil was able to be done. Because you got to remember, they just came from a trek from Laban all the way to where they're at right now inside the land of Canaan. They done bought the plot of land. They were there for 1.5 years chilling. No issues, no problems, no nothing. The women go to a festival. This dude kidnapped Jacob's daughter and then come to Jacob like it's cool and it's not any issue or any problem. Saying, hey, man, how much do you want for her? This is how Shechem is treating Jacob's daughter to his face. You understand? Mm-hmm. So like I said, we're going to stop right there. We're at 33 when we start for tomorrow. Today's Wednesday, so I'm going to do the prayer for today. I think that it's very important for us to continue in our reading because, for one thing, man, you have to understand the mindset and the ways of people. There's nothing new under the sun. So you're going to constantly run into individuals that do similar things. That don't mean they're going to do the same thing that we read about in the Bible. But the Bible is going to prepare you for the situations that we go through or that we're going to face. And it gives us an outlook on how to properly handle it. Right? Okay. So for our video, that's it, man. God bless you guys. You guys have a good night.